Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to some quotes by Masai Ujiri and some overall takeaways from this year's Summer League. And anyone that's followed this podcast over the past few weeks knows that I've slowly been jumping on the Precious Achiuwa bandwagon. I think Ryker is slowly joining along with me. We were a little bit worried about trading for a 6'8 center, being like, oh, will he be able to play that position? We have a bunch of guys that are around that height, but the more you watch this guy, the more, the Precious propaganda. That's right, our new segment. It's kicking in from the Raptors Digest. We are just getting so juiced, so amplified from his play in Summer League and just everything we're seeing about him. And so is Masai Ujiri, Riker. Did you hear about the quote that he said about Precious Achiuwa?
I have, but say it.
I'll sound off, because apparently when Masai Ujiri traded for Precious, obviously in the Kyle Lowry sign-in trade, Precious sent him a message saying, finally. This guy wanted to play for Masai, wanted to come to Toronto, and Masai says, you're mine now. So Ryker, we're getting a guy that's not only a beast, but wants to play for Masai Ujiri and the Toronto Raptors. What are your overall thoughts, and have they changed? Have they evolved about this Precious pickup in the Kyle Lowry sign-in trade?
You're mine now. I am your father. Precious Achiuwa, I forget what he said when he blocked Kevin Durant when Team Nigeria.
You're not that guy. You're not
that guy, chump. Who I think Kevin Durant's the highest rated 2K player now overall going into next NBA season. There was a vote between NBA executives, which LeBron apparently received 0 votes. It's between Giannis and KD, but hey, Achiuwa, maybe he's going to be the third best player in the NBA next season. He does have history with Masai Ujiri playing for the Giants of Africa program, and he obviously didn't even move to the States until he was 13 and picked up basketball. This guy, you talk about evolved expectations for him. He didn't really show out in his rookie season, obviously playing behind Bam Adebayo, getting limited run, but then in the Summer League, showing this super improved offensive game, mirroring Serge Ibaka, even Giannis at moments, running the fast break, showing even ball handling. You and I, we're stoked. This could be the steal of the offseason for sure, Ben.
Could be Ryker, or is, because I think it's a guaranteed steal just in terms of no one was really excited about this guy. And both of us were included in that sort of not elation with Precious Achiuwa in a package. You and I sort of were hoping for a Tyler Herro, but it's making more and more sense why Masai Ujiri wanted to bring this guy in. And the first thing that we can point to, outside of everything we've already broken down, is the Summer League stats. Precious Achiuwa absolutely balled out. They're down there below right now. We don't have a big fence to look over in this vid, but Ryker, 17 points per game and 7 rebounds. It's a little bit far away. I don't have my contacts in, but one stat that jumps off the page, the 50% from the 3-point line, Ryker. Now, only 4 games and not a lot of attempts, but that's something that is indicative of something that's developed. It's been noted that the Miami Heat wouldn't let him shoot the same way they wouldn't let Hassan Whiteside shoot threes, and there's a lot of drama made about that, if you remember that sort of meme that was going around about Miami a few years back when Hassan Whiteside was on that max contract. But Spoelstra doesn't like his guys shooting threes if they're not necessarily the over-the-top shooter, so to speak. But Precious, he is certainly a guy that the form looks nice. If he's out there, Nick Nurse is going to be forcing him to let it fly from the 3-point line, Ryker. If he can develop, obviously it's probably going to take a couple seasons to really be a Baruch Lopez, a Splash Mountain out there, but if he's able to space the floor just somewhat, the same way we saw Kem Birch do it at the end of the season, I'm sold on Precious being a starter right away.
Hey, starter, not starter, let's reflect on the criticisms, the apprehensions, the anguish on bringing Achiuwa in. Right before he came in, what we were saying, he's undersized, he's young, we're not really seeing the direction. Is this a proper center? Do we want to have a backcourt tandem, or what is it, front court tandem of 2 6'9" centers that maybe aren't going to be able to stack up against the likes of the Giannis's and the Embiids of the Eastern and Western Conference? Well, a lot of those have been put to bed now with what we saw on the defensive side. And like you're saying, if he's a competent enough shooter, or even just can have better touch, right?
Yeah.
What happened this regular season? Aaron Baines had the opportunity. He was given little dump offs, ran the pick and roll a couple times with Malachi Flynn, with Fred VanVleet, with Kyle Lowry, had those shots in the lane on the low block, dump offs, baseline kind of 10 feet from the basket, just couldn't finish anything. So even if we can hit those shots, Ben, let alone a 3-point shot, we're in a much improved position. He'll definitely crack that starting rotation spot. And heck, we might even make a deep sort of playoff seeding berth. And that's what's really exciting about going into this regular season.
Yeah, and you brought up the defense. There's also highlights of Precious. Just you brought up the name specifically, Joel Embiid, clamping Joel Embiid in a regular season game last season. So he's shown that he can go up against the monsters of the NBA, and already he looks bigger, he looks more athletic. To bring it back to Summer League, this guy was dunking on people left, right, and center. You're saying the touch, he's got to improve the touch, but if he's dunking on people, it doesn't even matter, right? If he can yam it down each possession, but obviously he was hitting these little post moves, he's hitting these little shots, those floater, those touch shots. You don't get 17 points in a per average in a summer league season if you're not knocking down those shots. And one point I also want to bring up on top of all that is his speed, Riker. He's showing rookie season Pascal Siakam sprinting out there. He's going like Usain Bolt up the court. And if we have maybe I don't know who he's specifically going to be playing with, but Scotty Barnes, who's shown to be able to throw those full court passes. Right, Malachi Flynn, especially last season when he wasn't looking to score every possession, he can throw those ahead. Fred VanVleet, all of these guys. If we have Siakam and Precious, because hopefully Siakam will be fully back into his own, which Masai Ujiri alluded to will be the case this season. If we have two of those guys running up the court every possession after the rebound's secured, our transition offense is going to be lethal, especially if OG gets the handle tighter. Scotty Barnes, who already has the tighter handle, going down like a freight train down there on the fast breaks. That's a whole nother dimension to our offense, which we just didn't have last year and really haven't had in a while at the center position before last season, obviously, with Serge Ibaka and Marcus Hall.
Yeah, well, especially with how Pascal Siakam has slowed down, doesn't seem as willing to run the fast break as of late. But if you were noting my eyes looking down and not at the camera, I was trying to search up how many dunks per game Giannis had last season. I think off the top of my head, it was something like 4 or 5 dunks per game on average. So
it was something stupid, like
it was ridiculously high. It was only mirrored by Shaq's sort of prime MVP seasons, but Achiuwa, he's not going to be getting that many dunks. So we do need to not overinflate or overpump this dude's tires. He's going to have to still have a touch, which it seems like he did. And just like with Scotty Barnes, whether or not the shot is efficient or it'll be efficient out of the gate, it's not a broken shot. It's not something that we need to tweak the mechanics or that's slow coming up, especially a guy like Baines or Jonas Valanciunas. There's guys who their shot form is a bit slower, so they're not getting up those kind of quick fades if it's the end of the shot clock. So I like what I'm seeing mechanics wise. And then it's like you're saying with the fast break, his motor, he flashed in the summer league. He even flashed that he's able to be the guy that's dribbling it up, let alone be sort of the rebound outlet for our streakers. He could even do a couple of dribbles and start the fast break himself, which is really exciting, and maybe spur along Pascal Siakam, put that giddy up back in the step, because he really took a dip in his transition offense. And that was the reason he got that max contract in the first place, because he was willing to outrun all the power forwards and the centers in the NBA. When that tapered off, then he just became a lot more difficult at his shots in the half court, and that's when he was starting to get memed because he was relying on that spin move maybe excessively and step back threes, which isn't really his game.
No, without a doubt. Maybe, as you mentioned, the sprinting will rub back off on Siakam, get everyone going on this team. But Riker, I think you and I are both sold on this guy being the steal of the offseason, probably our best pickup that wasn't already on the squad. But who's his player comparison? We've seen Bam, we've seen Serge, we've seen Giannis thrown out there by people. We've been calling him Precious Antetokounmpo Adebayo Achiuwa, right? Mixing all those names here together, right? That might be a little bit of Precious propaganda, which I'm throwing up here on the screen. But who would you say is his best comparison, or who is he more of an amalgamation of?
Well, it's not purely Serge Ibaka because he
Mm.
has more mobility and
Yeah.
he's quicker. So
Mm.
I like the from the offensive side. If he could be a clone of Serge Ibaka, that's a huge plus
Yeah.
because there's not a lot out there in the league right now that can shoot that way. But I guess Adebayo technically can. So he's probably closer to the Adebayo side, but that's a low-hanging fruit. That's an easy comparison. They played on the same team, but maybe some kind of combination of Draymond Green and Bam Adebayo.
Mm.
That's what I would like him to mold into, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen the passing just yet from Precious to give those Draymond Green, Ben Simmons-esque comparisons. However, Serge, he does move like Serge, a younger Serge, one of those rookie season Serges, right, where he's
Not
sort
we
of like,
never saw Serge handle the ball though. Serge
yeah.
had no sort of dribble package, which Bam is or Precious has already flashed.
Yeah, and the speed, right? The ability to go at that pace, where Serge has always been more of a rim protector, body him up down low, spot up shooter. So yeah, I like the amalgamation of maybe even Serge with Draymond's handles. That's a potential. Obviously, the 3-point shot, 50% right now from three. I don't know how much that will hold going into the regular season, but certainly Serge was a remarkable shooter during his tenure with especially his last season with the Toronto Raptors and getting that consistency and stuff. So if he can get that 3-point shot up to that level, paired alongside that speed, then that's a sort of perfect comparison amalgamation there. But Ryker, you and I are going to be spewing this Precious propaganda throughout the entire season until we're proven wrong, until, inevitably it might not be a superstar right away, a combination of multiple all-star type players just yet in his second season in the NBA after coming off a year with not that many minutes. But I'm pretty sold on him just coming in, fitting our young core, our young timeline. As Masai Ujiri said, we're not worried about bringing superstars in. We're not worried about this, that, or what other. We want to grow a team, and we're going to compete with those super teams, building internally, trading, acquiring those young assets that we have, and making a push. So I'm still confident in this squad in a tough Eastern Conference next season, and I'm excited to see what Precious can do in this year. And the final question: is he starting day one of the NBA season?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it might
I'm
be.
won over.
After the summer league, you and I were sort of like, okay, Kem Birch will be the guy at the beginning of the year, and then he'll probably lose it to Precious. But I think it's going to be right away. And Nick Nurse will be elated at what he's seen from summer league and training camp and all these sorts of stuff. Unless we go weird, play small ball with Scotty at center or something like that. But you never know what the Toronto Raptors are going to do with their lineups. But let's know what you guys think.
We won't go weird and play Scotty at center because we won't have Pascal Siakam back to start at the 4. So
yeah, that's true. So we'll see what happens. Nick Nurse has been known to do some wild things with those lineups, but let's know what you guys think about Precious Achiuwa. Is he the steal of the offseason, or are you running with someone else? Let us know in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate everyone that's subscribed. We're still figuring out what we're going to do for 20K. People were asking about the 1v1s, Ryker, and we said it. We prefaced it every time. We had to hit 20K before you and I were separated. You're back in Ontario now. I'm still on the island in the middle of the ocean. So we'll figure something out. We want to do some fun stuff. We'll get that one-on-one one day. Once we get to
we could do like a video horse, like a call in. I shoot one shot, you shoot one shot, make it pretty quick. We'll make something work and giveaway that's still on our radar. So anyways, sign us off, Ben.
Can we produce a better horse game than they had at the start of the pandemic? Do you remember that? There's nothing on TV. And they had this whack camera. Google that if you can. ESPN horse March 2020. A way to sum up the year of 2020. But you guys are the best to make this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Any last words, Ryker?
That's it for me, Ben. Cheers.